Welcome back to our third segment of Optimal Healthcare's Let's Talk About Health. Jacob Minang has agreed to join us again today and continue with some of these questions. Last time we finished up talking about the three different kinds of vaccines. So if you missed that segment, you can go back and take a look at it. And today we're going to hear more about the vaccines and start off with the one that fascinates me is the messenger RNA. I am not a scientist, and I barely remember RNA from high school biology 40 years ago. So I would like to know how these vaccines affect my RNA and what do my RNA do anyway?
Okay, so our genome, which is located within the nucleus, stores all the basic information that defines who we are, every single piece of our characteristics, outside of our behavior, which we learn when we interact with our parents and the rest of society. But all our physical attributes are stored in sequences within our genome. Our genome is pretty large, but you'll be surprised to know it's just about 1% of those sequences that actually code for any protein that has been defined. So it looks like the other 99%, the bulk of it is just structural to keep the rest, the sequence of interest intact and protected within the nucleus. But that DNA that's storing the information has to somehow be translated and transcribed to be expressed as proteins and all the other complex molecules that make us who we are. And for that to happen, the DNA is usually transcribed into messenger RNA, exactly that message. It's a messenger. It carries the messages that are going to be translated into proteins. Once the messenger RNA is created from being copied from the DNA, it has to exit the nucleus and go to the cytoplasm. That is where the manufacturing plant in human cells exists. There you have whole factories called ribosomes. That the messenger RNA comes and interacts with the ribosomes. They have some other smaller RNAs that are called transfer RNAs that code for every single amino acid that combines with other amino acids to form the protein chains that eventually will combine with other lipids to form all the different molecules that create who we are. And so the messenger RNA only ends up, it goes one way. So it leaves from the nucleus and goes to the cytoplasm and not the other way around. And so what the messenger RNA vaccine does then is that it comes into the cell within the cytoplasm and subverts that manufacturing system, or takes advantage of it, so that your transfer RNAs can help that messenger RNA to translate into a protein that is from the virus, which is the spike protein. So that the cell that picked up that messenger RNA now is going to be presenting the spike protein to your immune cells. And it will trigger them, since the spike protein is foreign, to attack those cells that have taken out the messenger RNA and thereby produce antibodies. And those antibodies will be ready for the next time you actually interact with the true virus. You have a sentinel of T and B cells already ready to go. And rest assured, every cell that picked up that messenger RNA is going to be targeted by your cells and killed. So it's not going to affect your regular genome or any other thing, because any cells that picked it up that in the vaccination site, within a week is going to be cleared. But by the time it's cleared, it would have done its work.
Very interesting.
It would have activated a lot of T and B cells that move to your lymph nodes and stay there and create sentinels ready to go the day you get infected with a true virus.
Okay, so how is this vaccine kept stable?
So for it to be kept stable, as I mentioned before in the previous clip, messenger RNA is a very fragile molecule, more because a lot of organisms out there produce nucleases, and the nuclease is an enzyme that breaks down RNA or nucleic acids, either RNA or DNA. And so to keep it safe, you store it at very low temperatures, because those nucleic enzymes cannot function at very low temperatures. When you and then you administer it within 2 to 12 hours of thawing, hopefully not enough time for them to have broken down. And once it's taken up and into the cells, and it's already, then you know it's already within the manufacturing factory, then you're not worried anymore about it being broken down.
So I've heard of something being used in the vaccine called luciferin. And when I looked it up, okay, so I'm not a bug person, but my very favorite little bugs are lightning bugs. I love them in the summer. And I read that this luciferin is part of what makes their little rear ends glow. Is that this? Am I reading that correctly? What is it? Why is it in a vaccine?
Okay, so you're correct. That's a very good question, and that is coming up a lot, especially among conspiracy theorists that they're saying that they would to try to use this vaccine to attack us, turn us into different type of zombies or some kind of thing, and they would track us. Okay, so the very straight up answer is none of these vaccines have luciferase, and then I'll go ahead to explain to you what luciferase is. Okay, uh, so none of these vaccines have luciferase, and the luciferase basically is a biomolecule that is gotten from fireflies and is used in bioluminescence in order to confirm in vitro in the labs that cells are taking up markers that have been produced in the cells. There are a couple of older vaccines that they added to luciferase there as a tag, more so you can be able to confirm that the person took up that vaccine, but not in the current vaccines.
Very good. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for clarifying this. I'm getting more science information now than I ever got in all of my education. I appreciate it. And we'll look forward to doing one more session with our very own Dr. Jacob Minang. Thank you for joining us.